This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks unhygienic.
Probably some kids.
A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onuk written on the other side, with N and C scribbled backwards. That's Kuno. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts, lanky weather-worn wooden planks. You know this to be the Star of Periconesus, or the Cairo. The central symbol of the Periconesian church, a star, a great moral height. The church looks old and weather-worn. There are no lights in the windows. This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25. Why place a tourist attraction in the middle of such poverty?
There was a revitalization project in '49. A design studio tried restoring Martinez to its pre-war glory. It didn't stick. They got as far as the street lamps and the statue on that intersection. Then something went sour. I suspect that something was Everard Clare, the union leader. He muscled them out. It's how it usually goes around here. We should have done something about the union 10 years ago. That ship has sailed, officer.
Your money disappears into the coin slot. A clunk. The curtains on the display open. You lean in to catch the view. It's blurry. Different blues and greens. In the middle of the shimmer stands a drab grey shape. The lenses shift. The ghost sharpens into an islet in the bay. In the ruins, a man-made structure is visible. A half-sunken sea fort. Its concrete almost reconquered by nature. It looks as if it was abandoned quite some time ago. Nothing but a rotten tooth remains of the anti-aircraft tower, alone, its leaves ripped from it by the winter wind. The little brave birch tree seems to wave back in the wind.
Really? I don't have the eyesight to make it out.
to work! Right to work! Shame on you! When a bunch of ungrateful, lazy cockroaches can't get their act together, decide to block honest work for other people. Beats me. They mumble nonsense about boardrooms and workers' rights, while we have the right to work! Have fun. Union shits are on full strike. Don't think they're going to let you through the gates. I'm trying to meet their fat boss. Right to work! It's shameful. Cops doing nothing. You should bring backup. Open up the gates for us. Blockading gainful employment for workers.
We are not picking a side in this just yet, sir.
Pity. Let us work! Honest men and women with rights to work, to be useful, not toys for corporate interest. We came here to help the harbor run smoothly in time of crisis. If union fucks don't want work.
I have a question. Why do all these men follow your leadership?
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No. They follow the rules of the market, the rules of the economy, because they were given a job to do! Not before you get in there and get your ass whooped. Learn by failure, I always say.
He might have some advice, but you got to at least try to fight Measurehead first. Return if you fail.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you? Murder, huh? That sounds like a lot of hard work. You'd never see me investigating a murder. That's okay. I have no idea what I'm doing either. I don't even know what day it is. Don't tell me. It's a better day that way. Murder, huh? That sounds like a lot of hard work. You'd probably not. I wouldn't even know where to start with that. Much better. Murder, huh? That sounds like a lot of hard work. You'd never see me investigating a murder. I don't believe you. Boss Laventurier said this. It wasn't. I'm doing much better here.
The unpromising race pupil returns. I am not the first line of defense. I am the last. In addition, these so-called hardy boys are an effeminate clique of bodybuilders. You pick up on something artificial in his tone. like he's putting on an act. This is unlike him. He is usually more himself.
The hardy manlets are on the pay of the company. I answer to the union alone. And I do this out of race heroism. Finance is an alien concept. Now leave me be. I must luxuriate in the company of my woman. Fine. They have recently fallen under the influence of a possibly sexually perverted female vagrant and a narcotics peddler. It's shameful. Find out for yourself. Endomorph.
Interesting.
Racists are generally not very good examples of their race. I am not like them. I am craniometric perfection. I have taken the trouble to permanently draw a phrenologic grid on my skull and features.
The drawings are precise and look true to their pseudo-scientific ambitions. One thing, however, it is not entirely free of throwbacks in the phylogenetic tree. His large jaw, for example, could be a trait indicative of criminalism. Also, his earlobes could be small.
Your silence betrays your inferiority. You do not have a reply. You should enter a deep race slumber. Perhaps in 4,000 years there is I am.
The drawings are precise and look true to the...
That atavistic stigmata makes pussy say yes, plenty.
Babe, thanks. But I got this.
You have him off guard now. He's preoccupied with his situation with his woman.
There is nothing funky about them. There are 3 categories of race. Type A, Type B, and the vile CF race colon of pederasty. Which one? I cannot possibly imagine what else we have to discuss, Type Basholian. Your love for disco music and venereal disease?
The drawings are precise and look true to their pseudo-scientific ambitions.
The size of the earlobes is not a real craniometric.
Your earlobes are flawless, Jean-Luc.
Yes. You exhibit forward projection of the jaw, indicative of schizophrenia and sexual inaccountability. From a purely aesthetic standpoint, it is impossible to see any more of your own structure. It is covered in the ravages of Al-Hul. This leads me to conclude you are not a police officer. You are a common criminal. An offspring of murderers and sailors from Sur la Clé and Vesper, and possibly even the degenerate sheep. Your racial heritage is uninteresting. It is the same as all Revacholians. Your parents and their parents made the decision to reproduce while under the influence of Al-Hul.
He's right there. It's almost impossible to get it on unless you're both drunk. It's too...
The unpromising race pupil returns. The unpromising race pupil returns.
Inside, you see a set of steering wheels.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Just a second, officer. Sylvie Malaika on the line for you, officer. Yes. Hello? Oh, great. What else do you need, detective? Please, no. Not this again. Everyone saw your cool gun, detective. You were trying to impress some people with it. Everyone was eating and... Great. Anything else? You mean, why did I leave the bar?
Why not?
Maybe, I don't know. I just know I have to take some time off right now. Yes, I know who you are. You're a police officer. The law.
This exact conversation has happened before. Establishing authority before this young girl seems to have been important to you in the past. Don't go there again.
You told me back in the whirling. Oh.
Real policemen have uniforms too, by the way. Where's yours? Yes, you absolutely should. It's awful that you lost it. It feels like you haven't worn yours in a long, long time.
Uniform? I I never saw you in any uniform. You had your things on. The disco things. Yes,
This exact conversation has happened before.
Oh,
Real policemen have uniforms too, by the way. Where's yours? He's in plain clothes, voluntarily. There are officers who wear the signature Perseus black uniforms to the highest ranks in the RCM and end up buried in them as well. Others do it more casually. Looks like you're one of them.
no, not me. No, sorry, people don't.
So the Union has a phone, and there's one further down.
It was someone else. We'll find them sooner or later, officer. It just might take a while.
Yeah, go on.
You hear?
Anything else I can help you with, officer?
In the cabin, you see a set of steering, a metallic drawer. The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. Preheater gauge. The speakers below are banged up and worthless. The sneakers triumph over them. They're the star.
No way, officer! These aren't for sale. They're bad speakers. Low-fi socialist junk. That's right, officer. You're a high-class policeman who accepts nothing less than the best. Lucky for you, I've got the best on sale. Everything's still cool here, officer. Drugs? I don't go in for that, officer. Drugs, unless you're into drugs, of course. In which case, drugs are excellent. Mwah! Tasty, tasty drugs. That's very cool. I don't like drugs either. I only said I do because I didn't. That's even cooler. You investigating narcotics crimes like that? But I am not a lorry driver.
A blatant lie, sire. Yet he tells it with such conviction. We'd believe him if we didn't know better.
Who said that? It's the fat racist, right? I bet it's him. He has an agenda against me because I'm an immigrant who works harder than he does. He's a hater.
So you admit you're a lorry driver?
No, I just said I work harder and he's an asshole. Okay, maybe I'm a lorry driver too. A little. But that's not the most important thing about me. That's my day job. This is my dream. Exactly. It's such a small part of my life. It's in the rear view mirror now. I'm climbing out of that hole with ingenuity. Nothing. I told you. I'm not a dumb guy. I don't get involved with that crowd.
And what crowd is that?
Crowd? You know, the drug...
No, he wasn't talking about an abstract crowd. He doesn't want to talk about them. He's afraid.
Look, there's bad people doing bad things here. That's all I know.
Here we go. There's a tiny bit of truth on the table. Zoom in on it.
It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her, she's no lady. All of them. I don't know. I told you all I know.
Who exactly is talking about this lady driver of yours? The racist or the other one with the tattoos?
All of them. Even the ones who've left. I don't hang out with them. I don't remember who has tattoos. I don't know. Maybe. If she is, I haven't gone near her.
It could be. He's not ruling her out.
All right. I scored. Everything's still cool here, officer.
Stuck in the rain in a traffic jam, man. What's on your mind? I don't want to talk about that. Man, I was hoping it isn't going to be her. All I can say is, she isn't around here anymore. She isn't some evil drug trafficker. And I don't know where she is. Thank God I don't know. People here call her the lady driver. She kept her name a secret. From me too. Now I see why. I didn't, man. I told you I was hoping.
He still is. Hoping. It's just wishful thinking on his part. It's true. We would of course a lie. But a kind heart is true. Bah. Emotional rhetoric. He knew something and he did.
A friend? An acquaintance? I don't know. She was the only person in this damn jam I could talk to. She's someone I don't want to rat out to the law, okay? A youngish woman. Gruff, but in a cool way.
What color hair?
Blue and violet. Dyed. It was violet when she got here. Blue before she went.
Then she may have dyed it again.
Damn, I don't want to... Please just let it go. Whatever she did, it can't...
We can't just let it go. It's part of a...
That's how it always is with you, isn't it? All part of the investigation. The girl's troubled.
It won't come to that. We won't pursue her on this. This is information only.
I don't believe you. She's got the darkness in her. That young person's darkness when you think it's all over. And you're looking for a way out.
She shared this with you?
Yes. Which is why I don't want to snitch on her. I heard the rumors. I saw the other drivers looking at me strange when we talked. And she told me, too, that she's had a violent life. But I wasn't afraid of her. More like for her.
Did this violent life include drug trafficking?
Well, it looks like it did now. But we didn't talk about that. We talked about life, you know? She talked about her mind. The way it worked. The trouble it was giving her. Fuck, man. Go grill someone else with these questions, okay?
The gray-haired woman. Maybe... Wait, this guy says they're friends. Then, acquaintances. And he... Push Tommy and it will break his heart. And his spirit. Don't expect you to be pals.
Fine. I don't want to be a butcher. And I don't want to be a knight either. I just want to be a person who can sleep at night. A little fame wouldn't hurt, too. You're not gonna put a bullet in your head if you blow it, are you? 'Cause she's on the edge, man. I thought you were a different kind of cop.
The realization that you've used his friendliness and goodwill for your own end.
Here. Mallory's still here, down past the statue of Philippe. The cabin is green. You can get in there with these. That's all I know.
When did she leave?
Last Friday. I bet you are.
And he's sorry he couldn't be what he wants to be. A good person. His last line, his revenge.
No. I don't know. She left them to me because she trusted me. So I can get it out of the way when the jam breaks loose. Otherwise...
The other drivers would have to tow it or break in to get the machines moving.
If they break in, they would find what's hidden inside. Something incriminating.
Nah. I need to think my own thoughts now. Pray forgiveness for my sins. Go check your cabin.
A lorry stuck in the traffic. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see this screen found A to Z. Contemporain is parked in the
This is the one our man pointed to.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of the seat and two steering levers. The door is locked. The handle looks shiny, like it's recently replaced. You push the key into the lock and turn. It makes a cracking sound. Then, the smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye. A centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. The actress is draped in a sheath dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run. Wait, doesn't she resemble someone you know? But you can't. This is Tijon, a starlet from the dawn of cinematography, less known for her talent than her tragic, untimely death. She wasted away in a drug den called the Door to the River, not far from here on Boogie Street, a mixture of cocaine and morphine. She was afraid of the world and the camera too. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard and a toolbox sits under the driver's seat. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed, likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation. With quite a range, too. Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without a dial key.
The smell of 1,000 cigarettes, some dead actresses, and a rusty old toolbox under the seat. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, but one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique? Yes?
Do the honors, he thinks. Connect it to yourself.
Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. Now we know for certain who is the missing eighth person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation? We should see what Titus has got to say on the matter. Are we finished with the lorry?
The movie stars are still smiling from the wall. You wedge up, but what? Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? Yes?
Do the honor.
Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. Now we know for certain who is the missing eighth person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation? We should talk with Titus, see what he...
The movie stars are still smiling. You wedge it, but one. Sandpaper add...
Yes?
Do the honors.
Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. Yes, well... Now we know for certain who is the missing eighth person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys... You're right. But we should still go and see...
The movie stars are still smiling. You... But... Sandpaper.
Sandpaper? Yes?
Do the...
Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. Now we know for certain who is the missing eighth person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation? Understood. We should still go.
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. You wedge up, but what? Sandpaper adds extra. The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. There's a radio. A metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper. It's an issue of Peripherique from last Wednesday. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematics.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
It's an issue of Peripherique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the
Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. The metallic drawer slides out. The pull-out toolbox slides back into... Close the rust...
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce? All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net.
This means it's well-funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it.
I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleet while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. And last but not least, it looks like the Hardy boys knew this driver, as we know that she was present at the lynching. This may be the Union connection we've been searching for.
The probe and the case converged, he thinks. This was quite the find.
Like Joyce told us, yes, logistically. But don't expect to bust this open during our stay here. At best, this is an angle we can use against them, to other hands, as extra ammunition. As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant.
Don't be fooled. Desire always plays a role.
I'm going to say no. As...
Don't be fooled.
Yes, well...
Unimportant.
As elegant...
Don't be fooled. Desire always plays a role.
Yes, well...
Unimportant.
We should return to the murder case. See what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics team. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation. Sometime later, when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. Especially if the Madrid grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Debrief over. After you.
Looking for something odd? Come to tell me to fuck off again?
Oh, look. It's the cop who turned me into a bad person.
Loma, you caught me at an opportune moment. This awful weather keeps me awake. You can...
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here.
Starting from the right. Boot size 44. Blonde man. In his 30s. Sitting across. And there, the emblem on his vest in the far corner. Standard working boot. Steel reinforced. On his, let's call, in conclusion. The exactly.
The fuck is with you, fella? What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy Boy. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy Boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
This person Glenn wants to hire.
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you...
It has to be good, if he won't let...
So let me get this straight. There is an eighth Hardy Boy. It's a she, and you don't like us to...
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with yours. You're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't...
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
There's no point in pushing it further, he thinks. This is already a victory. We'll learn more about this...
Like hell, you have. There is no local drug trade. This place is as clean as a rock.
We'll do that. In the meantime, did you know that there's an abandoned lorry at the intersection that was used to move raw ingredients for... The person driving it was present at the hanging. It was one of you. We've connected the footprint. Detective, do you want to deliver the coup de grâce?
No, the thunder is his. Leave it to the lieutenant.
Thank you. You're right, Titus. There is no local drug trade, because it's all controlled by you. You're the drug trade.
That's a mighty interesting theory. I guess that's what you would need to do, theoretically. A big, strong, state-run monopoly.
Yeah, man. Theoretically, that's what you would do.
You would need good, trustworthy people to take their place, of course. Hardy men to run such a monopoly. For the good of the community, of course.
Yes, but that just sends everyone else to Jamrock, doesn't it?
Boo fucking who? People will always be taking drugs.
Yeah, that's what the labor movement is all about. Clean and organized.
Theoretically, of course. We're just talking politics here.
Not quite yet, Mr. Hardy. There were 8 sets of prints on the crime scene. There are only 7 Hardy Boys.
My answer is... fuck off. Mind your own business. There is no...
Finally, you got something out of him. This could prove...
And here we go. Back to the usual.
I know! Fatty walked on all 4s. He's so fucking fat he left 2 sets of Go fuck your mom, Dennis.
That's more like it, boys. You heard him. It was Angus on all 4s. Anything else you need to know?
Oh, look. It's the cop who turned me into a bad person. Huh? Oh. No, I ain't got any money. They don't want to pay for the bosses, man. Makes sense. It sucks is what it does.
Maybe don't tell people. The people they don't like are actually right.
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Not an umbrella, I hope. I don't need one myself, you see. Very rugged. Good choice. Now, I suspect you had questions. Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologize for the surveillance.
One of the tall buildings overlooking the roundabout, most likely. That would give...
In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation?
She's trying to conceal her excitement. But
if there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I am sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands. Yes, I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershoal West.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply an opening gambit, like you suggested, or a joke even. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenell. An Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbour. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of these so?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants. Surely you're joking. These people are killers. My only hope is that yours provides a single concrete... If you don't pin this on someone good, and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present.
The débardeurs have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty.
The Serai's giant hornet, the world's second largest insect, can kill 40 honeybees a minute, while a group of 30 can decimate an entire hive of 20,000 bees in...
These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle. As I said, a bloodbath. It doesn't have to be like this. Nameless, badgeless officer of the citizens' militia. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much. Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients: Saint-Baptiste, Welchman Lorenz, Eintracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
The International Collaboration Police, ICP, is charged with coordinating law enforcement activities in complex multinational investigations.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I would be dealing with a group like Crenell. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us.
She's being truthful. She is pressing them as hard as she can.
Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors, their tribunal, it's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted...
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows...
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. You
meet her soon enough, you feel?
If you mean did I see him alive, yes. But I did not know him.
You don't know how you know. It's not written on her face, nor in her voice. But she had sympathy for this.
Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to pick...
I can't remember.
The lieutenant was testing her, asking a small detail first to see if she knew him better than she let on.
That's all right, man. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was...
He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his...
What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or... In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it. Through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. Or he didn't. This is... That the man...
The lieutenant...
Odd.
Last... Either way, that's...
You meet her soon enough, you feel?
If you...
You don't...
Liked is a bit strong. He was the most charismatic among them. He handled all the talking. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say...
What else?
In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it. Through the injury. They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting. You're likely to run into them eventually. When that happens, I'll be in a better position to mediate if I don't appear involved.
One is obviously the scab leader at the harbour gates. The one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise. The other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is...
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant, but my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible.
Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece?
Heavens no. I'm not an undercover agent. I hope I can answer it better. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting.
Did you miss the part about ceramic armor and automatic weapon?
That is a bad idea. One I won't be a party to. That's wise. Our goal is to avert catastrophe. They don't have the same respect. That's wise. Our goal is to avert catastrophe. They don't have the same respect for the... You're likely to run into them eventually. That's wise. Our goal is to avert catastrophe. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their...
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask.
There it is, a brave little army in your pocket. You picked the best one. This soldier is fat and succulent. What are you waiting? Get a load of this rock and roll cop here, people. Johnny Thundercop fishes a cheap lighter out of his pants. With a flick of the thumb, there's fire. Repercussions, there's a high risk of glory. It will help you concentrate a bit. That much is true. Thick, warm smoke gets sucked down into your lungs. Immediately, you feel a warm nostalgia fill your head, body, and soul. A nostalgia for yourself, the man you were in your youth. Johnny Thundercop is back, and he's chill as balls.
In the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a cigarettes button. Cigarettes gives +1 to intellect skills, logic, rhetoric, conceptualization, visual calculus, encyclopedia, and drama. This is good before a white check, but damages your health.
Whoa, what have we here? A bridge with loose nails and rot-infested wood that creaks in the wind. A construction code violation if there ever was one.
Sure, they never cleaned up the war damage. The rest of Relachel looks better, though. The bridge is fine enough. Locals use it all the time, after all.
Hello again. How can I help you? Sure. Let me have a look. Anything else you're thinking of selling? I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. Another time, perhaps. Sure thing. Sure, man.
The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says, Stereo 8 approved. This is you. Golden orange. A sunset suite.
Is the Harman Welshie W2. Made in Vespa. Designed in Seoul. Plays all reel-to-reel formats.
2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. If police work means playing tapes, sure, you can use it for that. Or any other time you'd need to play. And here you are. Quality sound reproduction on the go. It'll play anything, wherever. Turn any tape into a conversation of sounds and shapes.
All the You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniform. A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamp.
700 real. A bargain, I dare say. There's also the matter of rewiring. Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect working order.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite.
Fuck does Kuno care? The fuck about it? You're testing Kuno's patience. Get lost! Fucking right, pig. Kuno's filling bathtubs with that shit. Kuno's a kingpin. Don't be yanking your shit in front of the Kuno. Kuno's always serious.
Belying the act, he's actually telling the truth. Or at least 0.00001%. He's got to at least know a source. Look at him. You need to befriend him first.
Kuno doesn't fuck.
The trash container stands. The smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste. The container sounds a muffled gong.
Ray's pupil returns.
Just like that, instinct took over. A solid strike straight into his throat. The man is reeling, gasping for air. Time stands still. All you hear is a small gurgling sound as a trickle of blood appears on the man's lip. Oh God, wrong move. Your head is in his hands, like a pair of forceps crushing you, and you can...
Say it. I am a degenerate drunk.
The compression is unbearable. This is causing some serious...
You are a poor player of physical chess.
How did this happen?
The unpromising Ray's pupil returns.
How did this...
The unpromising Ray's pupil returns.
Just like that, instinct took... The man is reeling, gasping for air. All you hear is a small gurgling sound as a trickle of blood appears on the man. The man lands with a dull thump, like a broken down puppet of muscles and sinew. For a moment, he still tries to keep his head up, dazed eyes looking at you with unimaginable. As you slam your fist on the button, the man collapses entirely, his head rolling to the side.
Looks like you're the new measurehead now.
Her voice is surprisingly calm.
No one is the new measurehead. Let's go before he gets up.
The man is... The man is still knocked out. The man... The man is still knocked out.
Yes?
The unpromising race pupil returns.
How did...
The unpromising race pupil returns.
Just like the man, all you hear is a small... The man lands with a dull thump, like a broken down puppet of muscles and sinew. For as you slam your fist on the button, the man collapses entirely.
Looks like you're the...
Her voice is...
No one is the new measurehead. Let's go before he gets up.
Knocked him out good. Like the Flying Desperado. It's that really cool Flying Desperado spin kick you did, Boyadero. Often performed by the most hard-bodied boyaderos on the steps. So, what's on your mind this time?
Went native on the chief, huh? Those ballerina antics were reckless.
Wrong. You did the right thing with Measurehead.
Let's talk about our right to work. Hell no.
It just has to be said. That was not a convincing line. The man's breathing steadies, but
hell,
it just has to be
fucking
loincloth. Now,
fucking mom.
I'm going to.
How about you fuck off now, huh?
Okay, of course.
There could be weapons aiming at us. The man's breathing steadies.
Do not presume this has drastically altered our race dynamic. True, I said nothing about our personal dynamic. A little. The unpromising race pupil returns.
The man is still not. still knocked out. He breathes slowly. Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here. The white rectangle of the Revachol Citizens Militia is clearly visible on its back. This is your cloak. You can feel it.
Yes, it does bear the RCM insignia, and we are the only detectives in... The service cloak issued to you by your station? Yes, I do.
As your fingers touch the tarpaulin, it almost feels like the cloak wants to deliver a message of comfort. I will shield you from the elements and give my life for yours. That's what the cloak is. This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud.
If you must. But please hurry. We are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and they're sparse. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man, René, is dressed in a Royal Carabinier uniform. The girl is young and very pretty. René looks like he's about to smile. This photo...
Why did you take that picture of René? You're really interested in that old soldier. Not sure I understand your fascination, but sure, as long as it doesn't take up a whole lot of time.
This is... rusting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. Marche. On. Arrête. Off. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. With a surprisingly quiet thunk.
I can't see how that was worth the wreckers, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
The crane does not return to its original position. Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
Is this like your thing with that wall again? You do? Because I don't. There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? There may very well be, but we are not here to interact with containers. We are here.
No reply. No reply. You attempt to turn the handle. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement.
Container, container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, container, put the logos on.
The lyrics to this container song are being made up as he goes along. The accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi, from the vanishing peninsula of Ubisunt on Muindi.
Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, now belongs to Everard. Everard, 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 he looks after everyone. Huh? Well, hey there.
The look in his deep blue eyes is as sincere as you've ever seen.
I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I mean, mister. Oh yes, born and raised in Irish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new world. I was about 10 then, too old to lose my accent then. People say us Ubis are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just want you to know there was never any of that where I come from. No, sir. Those are just nasty rumors.
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike. Ha! We haven't worked for 2 months now.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Everard is in his office, where he always is, and Jean-Luc is guarding the gate. But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation, for a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's union business. Him and his boy stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Everett telling them to take some time.
Don't go all bad cop on this simple, friendly fellow.
Sure, sure. How can I help you? Yes, yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Bellick. But everyone calls me Leo. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town, and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Everett is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once the dinner is done and me and the... But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes I am, yes I am.
Stay on this Miss Beaufort topic.
Oh, Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone, and when she came back, she was off.
He respects that word. That's obvious.
But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood. Knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community one.
For a fraction of a second, they're sad.
If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. Lemaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years she has.
Law school? Could she be talking about the union fixer, a.k.a. the gardener?
Looks like it.
I'm not sure what a fixer is, but she is a real nice girl. Smart as a whip, too.
Telling the gardener you know her name might throw her off. Perhaps something to consider later.
Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers.
Told you.
Yeah, I'm like Mr. Everett's. Actually, Miss Beaufort.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to... But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much...
Stay on this Miss Beaufort topic.
Yes, this place really seems to run like clockwork. Keep it up, Leo.
Well, thanks a lot. Coming from you, it means a lot. Sometimes I feel some of the guys don't...
The white rectangle on your clothes might not mean an awful lot in Martinez.
Yeah, I'm like, actually...
Who is...
A real but I can't...
Stay on this Miss Beaufort topic. You see disdain in the lieutenant's dark eyes.
Oh, mister, I do a lot more than that. I really do. Yeah, I'm like, actually...
Who is...
A real... But I can't...
Stay on this.
Oh, Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone.
He respects that word.
But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood. Knows everybody and...
For a fraction.
If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. Lemaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost...
Law school? Could she be talking about the union fixer, a.k.a. the gardener?
Looks like it.
I'm not sure what a fixer is, but she is a real nice girl. Smart as a whip, too.
Telling the gardener you know her name might throw her off.
Oh, you want Mr. Everett, then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire... guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys. Oh, Mr. Everett is where he always is. In his office, of course. Bye-bye now.
Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up.
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand...
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks.
Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help...
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences.
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money. Think of all the stuff you could.
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man in him. A real...
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least don't thank him for it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to me? Or...
No.
Cool? I wouldn't go that far. I'm sure there are cooler things than delivering a... Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words escape its gravitational. When he said, "Don't worry," he actually meant, be very...
I know everything, Harry. Right now, I know that you're worried. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Clare's help.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said. Sure, mister. Absolutely. I'm always willing to help out nice fellows such as yourself. Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
The containers in the yard are green in Wild Pine's livery, and the mountains rising behind Leo is all red in Union colors. It's like some red infection was spreading outwards from the container yard's core.
Yes, they are hiding it from the inside. All the red containers have the Debarders Union logo on them.
No, not really. Mr. Everett doesn't tell me all the big things. Says I go and tell them to everyone. Oh, no trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all.
Before you is, with great effort, he straightens himself.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders. I'd offer you my hand.
He looks extreme.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner.
It's nothing. Yes, that's probably right. It's nothing. Forget about it. Filter it out.
Very well, Mr. Dubois. I respect a man with strong convictions. I, too, have convictions. One of which is that I will... Should you find yourself more amenable in the future, I'd gladly resume our conversation.
You're no Titan affiliation, buddy. He's got you in a fork. Sit down or leave.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union...
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money. Think of all the stuff you could.
Don't mention it. But also, don't forget it. I'm just kidding, of course.
He's not.
Now, I'd like...
The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words when he said, don't worry. He actually meant, be very worried.
Are you all right, Harry? You seem... It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling...
What is he trying to...
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry! Mr. Dubois, are you okay? Can I get...
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry. I don't even know what. As entertaining as it was, I'm afraid we're wasting our time, and I'm an extremely busy man, as I'm sure you are too.